Hiya, I'm a Zamen, and Persona 5 is coming out swing with a big ol' new spin-off. Persona Tactics in Ogre the Knight of Lotus, or something like that. Anyway, because of that, I thought it would be cool to take a look back at another Persona spin-off. You know, the one... No, not that one. It's a little too cool. Or that one. That one's been radio silent for a while. One of a more chibi art style, like... No, not like that. That's a promotional tie-in. It does not count. I want to talk about Persona Q2, okay? Persona Q2, because I really love that game. I think it is an absolute gem, and it's sad that no one talks about it, although it does kinda suck that the game has no English dub. Also, since this will probably be my status quo for a bit instead of talking about the whole game, I want to examine one great aspect about this game. You've read the title, or so I'd hope, so you know I'm talking about Hikari. Her, white hair, cool hat, was in this musical.
私は誰? あなたは人間、あなたはみんな一部に過ぎない女の子.
Hikari is a great character, and she really resonated with me back when I was 16. I own the game physically, as seen here, and to this day, I am still sad that I was unable to get this adorable Koromaru. Just look at him! He's so huggable! But my shattered dreams aside, we have two questions to answer. Number 1, what's a Persona Q2? And who's this Hikari? To begin, Persona Q2 is a lovely game, developed by Atlus for the 3DS as a sequel to Persona Q. It plays like the Etrian Odyssey series with a first-person dungeon crawling aesthetic and a gimmick where you have to draw out the map with your stylus on the bottom screen. It is great. My maps are like super colorful. Now, the main draw of the game, however, is how it brings together the main cast of Persona 3 Festival, Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5, but not in the Color Royal. They have fun interactions, but the main plot is centered around her, Hikari. With that out of the way, let's go into question 2. Whom? In broad terms, she's a high schooler who's depressed and full of self-loathing. Relatable, I know. She's basically the main character of Persona Q2 because she is quite literally the only character who was allowed to show even a shred of character development. We can see this development by comparing Hikari at the start of the game to Hikari at the end of the game. In the beginning, Hikari lacks social skills and has great self-esteem issues. These factors gave her great social anxiety and caused her to neglect her own physical well-being. As a result, she struggles to get clear messages out. We see this in her initial interactions with the 7 Ninths of the Phantom Thieves of Hearts, where she is literally shaking with fear at the mere possibility of interaction with a fellow human being. However, by the game's climax with Enlil, Hikari becomes more confident and comfortable around people, a development which even surprises Hikari herself, who didn't realize how much she was growing. You can really tell based upon how Hikari divulges her dream of becoming a movie director, which, as any introvert will know, talking about yourself is quite literally one of the most difficult things to do. So that's a small blurb on Hikari's personality and development. But what we here at the dumpster behind Outback Steakhouse need to do is explain the why. Why is she like this? So, to answer these questions, let me give you an abridged version of Hikari's backstory. This is Hikari. This is not Hikari. This is a real Hikari. This is Hikari, but smaller. And this is Hikari, but smallest. Each of these Hikaris represent a period in her life that's dominated by one key point of tragedy. Let's start with Hikari but smallest. This is her in primary school, which is elementary school. In class, Hikari and 2 other students were tasked with feeding a class pet, this rabbit. However, one day the rabbit got sick and died due to food poisoning. Hikari tried to explain to the teacher that the food she, the teacher, gave them was poisonous, but the teacher refused to accept any explanation and demanded that Hikari take responsibility for killing the rabbits and apologize. The other two students gave in to peer pressure and demanded Hikari take the blame. The full blame was shifted onto Hikari's innocent shoulders, breaking her trust in teachers. Let's move on to Hikari but smaller, aka Hikari in secondary/middle school. Here she actually has a group of friends and tries making a new one in the form of this girl named Miyuki. She invites Miyuki and the rest of her friends to go see a movie, but only Miyuki agrees. Afterwards, the bullies start targeting Hikari for befriending Miyuki, and in order to avoid being targeted by the bullies, the rest of Hikari's friends give in to peer pressure and kick her out of the group. Miyuki also distances herself from Hikari, leaving Hikari to be bullied without any kind of support system, being friendless for the rest of middle school and high school, resulting in her being triggered whenever someone mentioned the word friends, which is just painful. Now let's talk about real Hikari, now in high school, where she does the minimum of her schoolwork in order to focus on filmmaking, as by this point it is the most positive thing in her life since she doesn't have friends and has a distant father. Disclaimer: her father is not malicious or abusive, he just works a lot to provide for his daughter and is thereby never home. Now, Hikari is regularly scolded by her aunts and uncle for being quote-unquote abnormal because she stays inside and doesn't go out with friends and doesn't study 24/7. Doesn't have a job, and is, according to them, apparently a burden to her father. Among this, she is still bullied at school and regularly has problems with teachers due to her lack of trust in them. All of this resulted in Hikari nearly reaching her breaking point, until finally, the last bit of straw broke the camel's spine, when her father, innocently and caring for her well-being, asked the phrase, "Why do you have to be like that?" causing Hikari to truly believe she was worthless. She was a burden to her father. All of the traits that made her, I just realized I haven't actually gone over Hikari's baseline personality. So why don't we take a quick detour? Hikari is a polite but shy girl who strives to rise to the expectations of people around her. She also likes to joke around and has a desire to stand on her own and express herself through film. She is utterly obsessed with movies to the point where she goes on long tirades about films, even when her captive audience is not interested. She also tries to apply the lessons and themes of movies to real life, which isn't always the best idea. Now, detour over, let's head back to the main idea. Hikari began to believe that she was worthless. She was a burden to her father. All the traits that made her her were undesirable and unlikable. These kinds of thoughts made her want to throw away her own personality and disregard her personality altogether, because in her eyes there was not a single redeeming trait. She simplified herself to just being that weird movie kid, and from that point onward she secluded herself from all people and refused any kind of interaction, wanting only to waste away in her room without any purpose. No laughs, no tears, no motivation. Just a feeling of nothing. Which is why when we the player meet Hikari for the first time, she is shivering at the thought of social interaction. Henceforth, when I played the game, I felt so motivated to clear out every single labyrinth to help her get better. And also to get the blue-haired boy on toaster. Now, could Hikari be handled better, and could you incorporate more themes? Yes, absolutely to both, which is also a response to most themes in Persona, but I do really like how they managed to tackle it in a mostly tasteful way. It didn't feel exploitative, and her struggles do tie into multiple aspects of the game. One in particular is the game's main musical theme. No, not that one. Where Persona 5 in the Color Royal has Tokyo Daylight, and Persona 3 Festival has When the Moon's Reaching Stars. Persona Q2 has Cinematic Tale, full version, where Hikari's character is represented in the lyrics through Mayumi Fujita's lyrics. I don't know if I said her name correctly, I'm sorry. Specifically in the most iconic part,
Let's take a shot. Here goes. Say darling, hey maybe. Fancy you moving at ways like we can take you up higher and where you desire.
it was really quiet, but right after Fancy a Movie Night with Us, you can hear Mayumi sing, "Why do you care so much for me?" And later on in the song she sings,
We're here for you.
I just love these lyrics because it shows that while people are reaching out to help Hikari, ultimately she has to help herself first and accept the raid wholeheartedly. She needs to accept the hand that's reaching out to her. And that's why I think the last lines of Cinematic Tale are just so powerful when they sing, she needs to take the first step herself. I adore Hikari's role in the story of Persona Q2 and think it's a step up above the plot of Rei and Zen in Q1, although I'll save those full thoughts for later. Hikari is a real highlight and draw to Persona Q2, and I would love for more people to know her story and play Persona Q2, because it's a great game with a lot of heart and care clearly put into it. I really related a lot to Hikari's struggles, and the story genuinely moved me to tears when I was younger. I remember hearing the lyrics of "Nothing is Promised" and crying my eyes out. This game has a lot of depth to it, and I hope to explore more of it in the future. That out of the way, thank you very much for watching this video. And consider sticking around if you don't hate my voice. My sole goal here is to improve my writing, editing, and speaking as I go on. So as a final thoughts, I'd like to ask, how the hell can I steal this girl's hat? Like, should I just use a reverse stick up, or maybe pull out